Yo, this my intro. Sub up to the channel. More Naruto reactions coming. Eat butt. Ugh. Today we got Orochimaru versus Jiraiya is not close. I've seen a lot of people say Jiraiya loses to Orochimaru. Orochimaru is way stronger. And I don't know if I would say way stronger, but I don't know how Jiraiya would kill him. So I would say Orochimaru has a better chance of killing Jiraiya than Jiraiya has a better chance of killing Orochimaru. So I guess I would say Orochimaru wins, but I don't know. Let's get into the vid. Let's see what it's talking about.
Today we're exploring one of the most controversial matchups in Naruto, Orochimaru vs Jiraiya. Both are legendary sounding, renowned for their vast discernible jutsu and feats that consistently place them near the top of the series' power scale. In this breakdown, we'll examine their abilities, combat style, and notable showings to get a clearer picture of how this clash could unfold. Orochimaru and Jiraiya trained side by side under the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi. Their rivalry spans decades, Orochimaru seeking immortality and forbidden techniques while Jiraiya dedicates himself to guiding and protecting the next generation. Although the manga and anime never gives us a full, healthy one-on-one battle between them, the fragments we do see, combined with databook statements and on-panel feeds, provide plenty to analyze. Upon his introduction, the first Naruto fanbook describes Orochimaru as the most powerful and the most evil of all village enemies, immediately establishing his placement in a power hierarchy. His threat level is further underscored during his encounter with Kakashi. According to the first databook, Kakashi is Konoha's strongest jonin, known even in other countries. Yet the same Kakashi is frozen in fear and questions whether he should attempt to fight Orochimaru to protect Sasuke.
Hey, look, Kakashi was aura forming when he told Orochimaru, take one more step towards Sasuke, one of us will die here. That was tough. Orochimaru turned his back to Kakashi and said, kill me if you can. Oh, they going aura for aura. People say Orochimaru didn't take that one more step, but Kakashi didn't try to kill him either. And that boy was nervous. He even said, what am I talking about? Talking about one of us gonna die here. Yeah, cause that boy knew it was gonna be him. Kakashi would have went out like a true warrior too. He would have gave that boy elite hands, hit him with some mean combos. But yeah, I'm sorry, Kakashi would have got packed up.
Sarutobi Hiruzen, held as the strongest Hokage of all time, marked that Orochimaru alone was powerful enough to destroy a small nation. Quick side note, this analysis only covers part 1 and part 2 of Naruto. Boruto era Orochimaru is on an entire different level and would require its own breakdown. When it comes to ninjutsu, according to the 4th databook, Orochimaru has mastered all 5 basic nature transformations plus yin and yang release, a feat not innate but earned through training, as with Hiruzen. Hiruzen himself admits that Orochimaru was always more talented than he was in the ninja arts, implying that Orochimaru could develop and refine these elemental natures even more rapidly. In other words, his elemental ninjutsu was at least comparable to Hiruzen's, who demonstrated high level.
Hey, look, as much hate as Hiruzen get, we gotta talk about it. Bro know every nature style. Every nature style. He can do every jutsu from the hidden leaf. Like, and his clan isn't special. You can say Konohamaru, Asuma, but those are just two Jonin level characters. Now they are strong, and Orochimaru's bag. I'm tripping. Konohamaru's bag is deep. Ain't gonna lie. As much hate as he get, and as much as he get clowned on, I done clowned on him myself. That boy is tough, so I can't say that. But that boy Sarutobi bag is deep, boy. He got everything in her. I'm talking about everything.
Mastery over each element. He also wields one of the most dangerous forbidden jutsus in the series, Edo Tensei, or reanimation jutsu, which allows him to summon powerful deceased shinobis to fight for him. After his fight with the third Hokage, however, it's implied that he lost access to many of his techniques, which explains the lack of elemental showings or reanimation summonings later for the most part of the series. Even with his nerf, Orochimaru is still a formidable foe with his signature techniques, which
Bro, Orochimaru would find little kids at their lowest point. They want to give up on life. They might be suicidal. They might not think they're worth anything to anybody. Nobody cares about him or her. He finds them, says, "Come to me, I'm gonna boost you up, I'm gonna help you out," and then abuses him. Like, literally just do them the worst way. And since they have that trauma bond, they gonna do what he say anyway. And that's how you do it. He done did that over and over and over again, bro. Like, bro, we can't let him get away with this, and somehow he is. The only reason why Naruto was like, oh yeah, you can run free from the village, because they don't know how to kill him, bro. If they knew how to kill him, I promised you they would pack him up. I know they would.
Goes around snakes from giant summons to close range strikes. His oral rebirth technique enables him to shed his skin and heal from potentially any fatal injuries, granting him extraordinary survivability. Canon material places Orochimaru and Paru Hiruzen in close combat. The same Hiruzen stated to be the strongest Hokage and Kage at that time, meaning he should scale above Ai, Rasa, Dagur, and Onoki. The first fan book even notes that the two shinobi were equally matched and the battle seemed endless. Perhaps his most impressive feat was contending with Four Tails Naruto despite being severely weakened. Orochimaru has very few notable feats involving genjutsu.
I'm not gonna lie. Orochimaru's like just craziest feat is not fighting against Four Tails Naruto. I think, I know actually. This is not crazy for me to say. Hiruzen Sarutobi can fight against Naruto. Four Tails Naruto. That Naruto is strong, but it's not like just the strongest thing on the planet.
Making this area of his skill set relatively sparse. Initially, it seems as though his appearance before Team 7 in the Force of Death was a genjutsu. It's actually more akin to an intense display of killing intent, similarly to what Zabuza used against Team 7 or what Orochimaru later directed at Kakashi in Part 1. In fact, the only clear instance we have of Orochimaru in that genjutsu scenario is when he himself was placed under one by Itachi.
And the reason why, okay, back to when I was saying in the beginning of the video, the reason why Jiraiya has a chance is because him and them two toads, the Manpa toad, they can cast a genjutsu, and he's not really that. Orochimaru isn't immune to genjutsu. But the only thing is, even if you catch him in the genjutsu, how do you kill him? I don't know. So that's the problem he runs into after that point.
Overall, Orochimaru's maximum power is difficult to define. He does have a so-called full power state, but even then he's gravely ill, requiring extensive medical care. In this condition, he accomplishes little beyond paralyzing heavy Sasuke. His Hydra Snake form, introduced in Data Book 3, is described as his strongest transformation. This form, composed entirely of white snakes, drastically increases his regenerative capacity. While the exact limits of his healing aren't quantified, it's supposedly superior to his normal body's regeneration. Unfortunately, it saw little on-screen or panel action, making it hard to gauge his full potential.
Yeah, we barely seen anything. We've seen a bunch of snakes. We see Itachi literally uses the Yadamir, I think, and absorbs them. So now he's not in Sasuke's body no more, but we barely seen anything.
Jiraiya's debut likewise framed him as one of the most formidable shinobi introduced at that point. Databook 1 states his true strength is bottomless and describes him as a person on par with Orochimaru, the same Orochimaru who was compared to Hiruzen, the strongest Hokage of his era. After Hiruzen's death, Jiraiya was immediately offered the Hokage position, a role he had already been offered twice before, which highlights how he easily met the strength and capability requirements for Konoha's leader. When comparing the base form, we actually have a reference in Part 1 where both face off, each heavily handicapped. Orochimaru had lost use of his arm and was in excruciating pain, and Jiraiya was heavily drugged up but wasn't able to mold his chakra properly. Even under these conditions, neither managed to decisively overpower the other. Orochimaru tried to downplay Jiraiya's strength by claiming he was still no match for him even while handicapped, but that seems questionable. For instance, even after biting Jiraiya, presumably to poison him, there was no visible effect and the fight continued. Meanwhile, the battle between the summons Gamabunta and Manda appeared to edge towards Manda's favor, so one could argue that Orochimaru had the upper hand in that particular confrontation.
We not going based off of that though. We not going based off the summons, cause the summon is just a summon. We not doing that. Orochimaru just fought Hiruzen, so he had no hands basically, and barely any jutsu. And Jiraiya, he was drugged up by Tsunade, and Tsunade is the best medical ninja at this time. So at this time, she's the greatest medical ninja of all time. And now she's only second place to Sakura. So, and she taught Sakura. So, I mean, yeah, they both was handicapped, and I would just say all three of the Sonin was equal during that fight. Or if you want to rank Tsunade lower than the rest, but she was giving Orochimaru work, boy. She was doing him crazy.
Regarding their respective fights against Four Tails Naruto, Orochimaru's encounter with Four Tail Naruto is fully shown and displayed, and we see him hold his own impressively. His signature techniques and regeneration allowed him to contend with the transformation and even land a blow. By contrast, Jiraiya's fight with Four Tails Naruto happens off screen. All we know is that he walked away heavily injured. However, the context matters, as before Naruto transformed into his four-tailed state, his three-tailed form had already been fast enough to blitz and injure Orochimaru. Without his regeneration, Orochimaru arguably could have been one-shot. In Jiraiya's case, the flashback indicates Naruto only lost control upon entering his four-tailed state, and we didn't get to see a three-tailed Naruto do the same with Jiraiya. Still, Jiraiya's showing may actually be more impressive, as he lacks Orochimaru's regenerative abilities, but was still able to subdue Naruto, all while being
Yeah, on top of that, they was training, and Jiraiya was like, oh yeah, try to activate your, try to control the chakra. So, and then it's Naruto. Jiraiya isn't going to try to kill him. So, of course, he was holding back, and he got heavily injured because of that.
injured and most likely suffering from the corrosive effects of the Kyuubi's chakra. Unlike Orochimaru, Jiraiya was also trying not to harm his student with his more destructive jutsus, instead relying on his base skill set to restrain him. So my verdict on their base form is in a straight up base form confrontation. Orochimaru still likely has a slight edge thanks to his exceptional regeneration, which could allow him to outlast Jiraiya in a prolonged battle. Once Sage Mode enters the equation, however, the dynamic shifts. Their comparable stats now become a gap in Jiraiya's favor. In Naruto Shippuden in chapter 374, we see an implication that Jiraiya has risen above the Sannin level into a league of his own. Sage Mode amplifies all of Jiraiya's already destructive techniques, Rasengan, Fire Style, and Total Jutsu, while boosting his physical attributes. It also gives him
That's what I was saying, like, the Sage Mode and the Genjutsu, like, that's gonna give Jiraiya a boost, but I just don't know how he's gonna kill him. Cause, like, Orochimaru just slither out of one body and slither into another one. So I literally, like, he's immortal, he gotta keep hopping bodies, I guess, but he's still immortal. I haven't seen, like, I don't know how he dies. So that's why I give the edge to Orochimaru.
access to the infamous Frog Song Genjutsu, which can incapacitate anyone within earshot. Combined with Sage Mode enhanced sensory perception, it becomes exceedingly difficult for Orochimaru to hide or escape. Even Orochimaru's 8-headed Hydra form, his supposedly strongest form, may actually work against him. In that form, he's a far larger and easier target for Jiraiya to hit with a massive Rasengan, stated to be strong enough to blow away minds. And he still has no known counter to the Frog Song Genjutsu. So to conclude this, in base form, Orochimaru probably edges Jiraiya slightly due to his regenerative abilities. But once Sage Mode is active, the advantage flips hard in Jiraiya's favor. His boosted power, versatility, sensory skills, and Frog Song Genjutsu gives him the tools he needs to overwhelm or incapacitate even Orochimaru's strongest.
So I gave the edge to Orochimaru. I'm still gonna give it to Orochimaru only because I don't know how Jiraiya would win, like would kill him. But Sage Mode is a different beast. Of course, it's gonna amp you up. It's gonna give you a boost. You're gonna be faster. All your jutsu hit harder. But if somehow he figured out a way to kill him, because you know Jiraiya, that used to be his best friend, or he used to look up to him, or you know whatever. So maybe he knows a way to kill Orochimaru that we don't. But yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to Orochimaru because of his healing factor, and who knows how he dies. With that being said, this is the end of the video. Make sure to like